Today, Jim Trusty, the attorney for former President Donald Trump, who recently resigned after Trump's federal indictment was unsealed, just announced he's withdrawing from another Trump case, the former president's lawsuit against our network, CNN. Trusty cited irreconcilable differences with Trump as the reason for his resignation. In the meantime, we are learning two of Trump's current lawyers have contacted the Justice Department to get security clearances. Those are requirements for them to access evidence in his federal case. Much of the evidence is classified. The judge overseeing that case, Eileen Cannon, told Trump's legal team they had to get in touch with the DOJ by today. And this comes as another federal judge just set an early 2024 trial date for E. Jean Carroll's original defamation case against Trump. This one is separate from the one that we saw last month, where a jury awarded Carroll $5 million after finding Trump sexually abused and defamed Carroll. With us now, we have CNN national correspondent Kristen Holmes. We have CNN chief national affairs correspondent Jeff Zeleny as well. Kristen, I want to start with you because if Carroll's defamation case goes to trial in January of 2024, I mean, you see where this goes with the timeline, right? It's going to take place right in the thick of presidential primary season. And he's also facing a lot of other legal hurdles at the exact same time.
Yeah, there's actually 4 trials that we know of that have been scheduled. And keep in mind, this last arraignment, that hasn't even been scheduled in terms of a trial. So there's 4 that we know of, and all of them are coming at a time that is incredibly critical for this political race. And this is why we continue to report that there really cannot be a real separation of the Trump legal operation and the Trump political operation. So let's look at the trials that we know of. One being in October of 2023, that's the first one. This is the Trump company civil fraud suit. This was brought by the New York Attorney General. Then January 15th, the E. Jean Carroll defamation trial. January 29th, a federal class action suit that accuses Trump and his company of promoting a pyramid scheme. And then March 25th, 2024, a trial in that alleged hush money scheme. Again, all of these being critical moments. Now, the one thing to note is that we don't know which of these Trump will have to appear at. But again, it goes to show you that these things cannot be separated. And as we reported earlier this week, that is part of the Trump playbook. They want to be running on his legal issues.
This is tricky. I mean, if I'm a presidential candidate, I don't want to be dealing with filing my taxes. I'm going to outsource everything that I can during this season. But Jeff, this just speaks to all of this hanging over this political race. And let's take a look at where Republican voters are on this, because they aren't all behind Donald Trump. A recent ABC News Ipsos poll shows that 38% of Republicans do view the charges against Trump as serious.
Now that is interesting. When you look at that, you say that 50% say it's not serious. So you think, okay, you know, an almost majority of Republicans say it's not, but 38% saying it's serious. That essentially shows you what the lane is for voters, perhaps looking for something else, perhaps tired of the drama. We hear this anecdotally as we talk to voters on the campaign trail all the time. So many Republicans who voted for Trump, they liked his policies, but are just exhausted by it all. And you have to wonder, all these trials that Kristen was talking about, as they add up, and there could be more with the Georgia case, with the possibility of a case here, is that 38% who are concerned about this, is that going to increase or not? So that offers a window for other potential Republican candidates. But the pollsters and strategists I've been talking to this week, this is just still settling into public opinion. The indictment is just still, it's a snapshot in time, and that's not likely to decrease here. So I think we have to put a pause on our reliance on polls on this and just kind of give a sense. But this divide in the Republican Party is significant.
That's a really good point. I also just want to be clear. I'm not saying they shouldn't file their taxes. They should.
Right.
The issue is, do they take care of it personally or outsource it to someone else? Okay, so that's this federal indictment. He's also using it to raise money, right, Jeff? So he does use it as an advantage.
Sure.
The point is, it's a double-edged sword.
Without question. And there's so many things you have to do as a candidate, you know, particularly going into Iowa and New Hampshire, South Carolina. There are dates on the calendar. So he'll have to be potentially in 2 places at one time, or he'll delay these. But I think it is a challenge, perhaps more than anything, mentally. How do you keep track and sort of separate all this? So I think we just have to wait and see. But one thing is probably clear. Republican voters will have a say on this long before any jurors do.
How do people around him feel about that, having the energy and the bandwidth to manage these things?
I mean, I think there's a lot of compartmentalization. I think that tone I saw in Bedminster was very different than the tone I saw at Mar-a-Lago after that first arraignment in New York. In Bedminster, they seemed a little bit more confident, and when I asked them about that, they said it was because they felt like they were getting the hang of this playbook of how to navigate both of them. But again, now we're just talking about 2 indictments. There is still, as Jeff said, looming in Georgia, the January 6th investigation, the federal investigation. So whether or not they can keep up that confidence, it's just, this is a lot, and it's never been done before.
No, certainly has not. Unprecedented. Kristen, Jeff, thank you so much.